Welcome to Monkey Chatter. Monkey Chatter is a podcast by three great friends who have different perspectives on all things wellness. So let's jump right into today's topic.
I guess I'll start. Welcome to Monkey Chatter.
It's your house.
So it's a little different this time because the monkeys are in Lexington, Kentucky, and we are now sitting in my house, all three, IRL.
Are we holding hands? Oh, we're holding hands.
IRL.
We're clearly holding hands now.
In real life at my house. So this is coming to you
Live.
not live. And we're winging it today because we really rarely get together in person, just like we do every time. But one of the topics that came up today was that we did a really fun photo shoot out in a really pretty wooded area in Lexington. And we had a blast. We dressed, and you'll see pictures later online. We feel like this is a bit of a rebranding, a rebirth of the Monkey Chatter podcast. So stay tuned for all that. But in the meantime, we thought it'd be fun to talk about that and talk about transitions and rebirth and changes and rebranding. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll keep it a little shorter than normal because we're all on schedules and we're just happy to be together.
Yes, we are. So happy.
So I'm going to actually maybe instigate that Michelle talk a little bit because Michelle has done some amazing transitions in her life. And we were actually talking to her at lunch today about how incredible we think her experiences really are. And that those experiences, whether people think they're good or bad, they make us who we are. So ultimately, looking back on whatever experiences you're going through, they do make you the person you are in this moment. And so it's also amazing when you reinvent yourself. And I feel like you've done that several times.
Oh my gosh. Nothing like a little pressure. And clearly not, I'm not sure what to say.
What?
Which is shocking. So I have a lot of thoughts about rebranding or transition or, how that all really goes down. And I tend to, this is so funny, I tend to be dragged into transition by other people that I align with. I am normally inclined to play it really safe and do the thing that will keep me secure and that I think is going to be the less disruptive. But for some reason, even since I was a little girl, I collect folks around me, my friends, my peers, my colleagues, those kinds of things, who really push me out of my comfort zone. And I think I do, in all honesty, I think I do it on purpose because ultimately at my core, I do want to be a little bit of a risk taker. And I am super curious about, well, what if we tried this? But I won't do it on my own, but I will do it for somebody else. I think about all the big things that I've done. They have usually been because of someone else or something that has pushed me. So yeah, when I think about transitions, I'm that resistant person who has to kind of be dragged along as opposed to, like running toward the edge of the cliff by myself. Oh no, that's not happening. There's somebody already standing on the edge who's pulling me by some sort of, come on, you can do it. It'll be fine. I'm thinking of a friend of ours who got me to, oh my God, fall backwards off a platform into thin air. Like seriously, never doing that again. However, I always am glad that I've done the thing after I have whined and complained and done everything I can not to. So,
as you once said, you're a resistant little creature.
I am a resistant.
I think you said resistant little creature more than.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And my husband, so I'll end it there. My husband truly has been a big part of that, where he will talk about this all the time because he thinks it's ridiculous, but he'll encourage me to do something. Like we'll go to do something like ride bikes or something like that. And we can't just ride bikes on the bike path. Like it's got to be like this single track and I'll whine and complain the whole time. Or like when we climbed Mount Marcy and I like moaned and cried the whole last 20 feet or whatever. And then whatever it was, like it's that last piece. And he was, I know he just, why we might have even been dating. I'm surprised we got married after that. However, that is my pattern. So transition, hard for me. And I'm really drawn to them. Yeah.
Are there any transitions that you are proud of?
Oh, really all of them, because I don't want to do any of them. Right? So I'm always, once I get them done, I'm like, wow, like not only like for normal people who do that without all the resistance, like for me, it's doubly hard because I've got to go through like the whole histrionics first and then do the thing where if I, probably could not do the crazy, like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. This sucks, blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
It'll probably be easier. So I'm usually proud of all of them.
You should be.
Yeah. But not in like that, oh, I'm proud of them way. Kind of in like, oh, look what she did.
I'm actually proud of them, but not in that, I'm proud of them.
It's a very different feel to them. So.
Well, you should be, because you have done some amazing transitions.
Oh, great. Yeah. So that's enough about me. So this is a short podcast.
Oh, that is true.
Who's
it
next?
Is a short one.
Yeah. Who gets to talk about their transitions next?
Yeah, your transition was.
Well, I guess mine was big, I guess.
You guess. Okay.
Yeah. It was big. We were talking today because I'm also doing a really fun thing. It's a business coaching class with an amazing coach named Bethany Bubenzer, and it's called the Creatrix Academy. And one of the fun things we're doing is kind of creating and becoming our alter ego. So like we all looked up, like Beyonce has an alter ego named Sasha Fierce, which is so cool. So earlier today we were like AIing and Googling and coming up with ideas for my alter ego name, which I already know who she is. She's like this inner hippie goddess mama. And so she's coming out later. But
you should have busted her out.
Yeah. Just got dressed up like her today, but we did get dressed up too today in our current personas for the photos, and I really did, I guess, transition from like doing the thing that I thought I really wanted when I was younger, which was I wanted to work with horses. So, and like that's also how I've met you guys. So I'm so thankful that I pursued that and stuck with it, and I did. I had a wonderful career working in the horse industry, which people are like, what is that? But, I mean, I sold advertising. I had some professional jobs like within the industry where I got to do things I loved. I sold horse feed.
About that.
We did.
Last episode.
We did talk about that.
We started the podcast.
So like the transition for me was not just a new direction and job, but I feel like as a person I've transformed. Like I used to be a lot more skeptical. I was much more conservative just in my views and what I put out in the world. And now I feel like literally like my inner hippie child is breaking free.
We can vouch for that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true.
Pull up those pants.
Like I got
she's got her in there.
I want to see that. I got my flashy yoga pants on, and I mean, like I still I think part of transition for a lot of women, including me, was when you're used to working in a certain environment and there's an expectation of how you look, how you dress, and what you believe in. And by that, I mean, is it traditional medicine, or are you into energy work and what some people would call woo woo? And when I was working in that world of horses and advertising and, working with more conservative people, I definitely did not let that hippie part of me show, because I think I was afraid of criticism perhaps, or not being taken seriously. Yeah. And I think that's true of a lot of people. Like, we have maybe an inner person that we keep a little hidden from the world. So a lot of the transition for me was releasing that, letting that like flower child part of me come out more. And it's felt really good. Like, it really has felt really good. Not that I didn't enjoy what I did before, but again, it's all every decade I live, I feel like I become a little bit closer to the person that I'm really meant to be, I guess.
Ew, that's really profound. I'm like, okay, well, that was a lot better than me, right?
No, not at all. I always tell people, like, every decade is going to get better. Like, just believe that. Like, yeah. And we always say this, three of us say this, it's never too late.
Yeah, never too late.
There's always still time, or maybe that's a better.
And as Michelle said yesterday,
never too soon either.
Oh,
so
yes.
Don't wait. Like, if you're, in your 20s, 30s, like, don't wait. Do it.
Yeah.
If you are drawn to do something, it's never too soon either. So start exploring. Believe what is calling you, right? Enough to at least invest it. Like, you don't have to hang on to it forever. Good God, like, oh, that's interesting. Yay. Now it's not interesting. So you have plenty of time. So it's never too soon either. So I just want to shout out to anybody who, is a little younger than we are. That's true. This is probably super important.
When you feel the calling and something is saying you need to do this, or you're already headed down the path, Amy, hint, hint. Like, when something's calling to you, like something you're doing that brings you joy, do more of that. Like, it's not too late to do more of that. If you can find the time.
Stuff that you don't like.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, don't do more of that. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Do more of the things that you like. Thank you.
And like, I've seen that in you for sure.
Yeah.
Like, you definitely are doing some amazing things that when I first met you, you weren't doing.
Yeah. So Amy, your turn.
I know. I'm like, I don't know what to say now. I don't know. Michelle,
show us your pants, because
Amy's got sloth pants.
Little sloth pants.
Yeah.
Again, a little shout out to CBG. Yeah. Someday they'll sponsor our podcast.
Yeah, CBG, constantly, not the airport.
Yeah.
And there's a transition, right? You decided I'm sorry. Anymore black.
Yep. Go ahead.
You do it. It's your transition, not me. Well, not mine. I still wear gray.
Yeah. I decided years ago, almost 7 years ago now, when I turned 40, that I was wearing no more workout clothes. No more.
That's a little scary, but okay.
Not that kind of podcast.
No more black workout pants. Like, I used to only wear black leggings to the gym, and that was it. And I was like, no, when I turn 40, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm living life in color. So all of my pants are now kind of crazy, and this little black cat is like,
we have a cat meowing in the background.
Yeah,
she's a little black.
She has something to say.
Yeah, she does.
She's very very talkative. All my cats like to be involved in the podcast.
At least she's not jumping up on the table now.
Yeah, true. That's coming, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, Lara has definitely done the biggest.
Oh,
yeah, so, probably.
Yes.
I have.
Yeah, like life changing.
Yeah, life changing. Like, it took, and it was a slow transition. I did 2 jobs for a while. I had a business I opened, and I worked my regular job for 2 full years. And, people I work with knew what I was doing. And I told them, I was already working from home. That made it easier. But there was a time when I knew I was ready to step away from the old and move fully into the new. And it was a great decision. That's the best thing I ever did. I'm so happy that I did it. And, like being in the space I'm in now, I do feel like I can fully be like a little bit more who I am. Before, I did a lot of stuff that was not just outside my comfort zone, but like not really who I was. I think that's like, it's hard to know who you are anyways, no matter how old you are, and you can evolve forever as far as I'm concerned. In 10 years, I might be a surfer in Maui. Who knows?
Ooh, I want to be around that.
Probably not, but never know.
So I do want to, so Amy, like when you are talking about that, we were talking about this a little earlier, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Okay.
So
I will.
shocker. But I think you went from, in my mind, you went from not really being an athlete to really making that a central, and I don't know how you define it. Maybe athlete's the wrong word, but
Yeah.
there was,
I'm like, so
but there was, right? But there was a conscious and very distinct shift from what was to where you are now. Like, I remember when you were just starting to get on the treadmill, right? Like literally just start. I think you had maybe just started CrossFit. Maybe you hadn't even done that yet and you were just running a little.
Yeah. I'm trying to think how long it's been. I did my first half in 2000 and I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
I don't know. It may have been 2009. I don't even remember.
And what were you doing? So here's my question, which I don't know.
Yeah.
What were you doing before then on the fitness side?
Yeah, nothing.
So folks.
Yeah, and I was no, and we talked about this on the why we started a podcast thing too. I think Lara and I both talked about the it's never too late sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I definitely was not a gym person. I was not a runner. I was not any of that until I think 2009 was my first half. Yeah, because I did my first marathon in 2010. And
Right.
but yeah, I had,
So that's
like
15 years ago.
yeah. Dang.
Like
Old.
Well,
Like-
and not only that, but you're inspiring other. Like that's the thing. You didn't just go from
like
You
fit
are.
like good and like
yeah, and you have like you know.
faithfully fit ladies.
Oh yes, please talk about that. Is it okay to do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Please talk about that.
Yes. Yeah, and I think we've alluded to them a little bit, or at least I have alluded to them a little bit on here. But yeah,
But it's part of your transition, which is
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
feeling called to do something
Yeah.
different.
So I have this group of ladies at church, and we started females only, any level, whatever. They can come in, and we do like a little. Again, they don't like me to call it boot camp because it's but we just call it faithfully fit, and do like workouts and stuff every Wednesday night at 6:30, and we just have a good time, and it's been fun. Like they've been a really fun group, and yeah, I really like that. I really like my ladies.
They're probably I truly am imagining that you are inspiring them.
I don't know.
You might not
Or
think that,
scaring
but
them.
I feel like you're inspiring them.
And sometimes it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Michelle's like
if
that's what you are for me.
Yeah, right. That's exactly it, right? Because
Yeah.
when you're inspired by something, generally that feeling of inspiration also comes with, I don't want to call it fear, but a little bit of, oh, could I do that?
So I have to tell you, it's funny. I just thought of this. So there's a lady in there. Trying to think. She's come a few weeks now, and I had no idea how old she is. I thought, like Tony and I both talked. We thought she was in her like maybe early 60s. She, I think, is like early to mid 70s, and she is freaking amazing. And so it's funny because the other day I had texted her like after class because we were partners. We did a little partner workout, and I was her partner. So I texted her to see how she was feeling like the day or two after. And she wrote me a really sweet text back and was like, you're really good, you're a good partner, and you're a really, I forget how she worded it, but anyway, like you're a inspirational young woman or something. And I was like, oh, you're so sweet. I'm like, you're an inspirational young woman too. Like, but so it's like it goes both ways too. Cause to watch them, cause I mean, we're, there's people in their, I guess 30s is probably the youngest. Oh no, we have some in the 20s. And then there's like 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s. And literally a couple weeks ago, I had a lady in her 80s who was there. And like to watch them. So like the inspiration goes both ways, you know? So I think that's kind of cool.
Well, and I think maybe that's like a key component of finding when you decide that you want to transition into doing something that not only do you feel like maybe you're making an impact on somebody else's life, but they're inspiring you back.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. Like my clients, and I'm sure when you were coaching, like when you and I were, when you coached me, I was like, you were amazing. And like then later you were like, oh, you inspire me because of what I did with the salt cave. And I was like, yeah, but you were part of like getting me there. Like you were also helpful in me, you know, being able to decide what I wanted to do or next step. I don't know. So it does go both ways when you really find your niche.
Well, I think coaching anything, right? Whether it's on the fitness side or on the more on the life coaching side or yoga. I think when I talk about coaching, like, you know, some of the clients I've coached, I am always in awe of what they actually do.
Mm-hmm.
That is really rewarding and inspiring, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like for yourself, because you're like, wow, like they really stepped up and really created change in their life. And, you know, we talk about manifesting things, and a lot of folks, you know, they hear that word and they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But the reality is yet you create, right? Like you create from that space of discomfort. Like when you push yourself out of your comfort zone, that's where that creation comes from. You make something different. Like you act against something, and it's not the same as whether it's your life, your body, your physiology, you know. So I think that now that we're talking about transition, I think maybe that's sort of what that is, right? It's you push up against something, and instead of pulling back, you push through.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And like, whoa, now that you just said that, like, I'm like, oh yeah, on the fitness side, because like, yeah, wow, I have so many more thoughts now, but I'm not sure how to put them into words. Like the same thing happens, like I think of like in a marathon or in a really hard workout or something, like you hit a wall and you're like literally in a marathon, mile 20 is considered the wall. Because like that's where like,
and that's where you make the choice, wall. Right?
Yeah. You're like almost there at that point too, right?
Well, I mean, you got 6 more miles to go. So depending on your definition of almost there. But like you hit that, and you can decide like, this sucks, I quit.
Yeah.
And you hope somebody's there to pick you up, or like, you push through and then you get, that's a really, like all like just clicked in.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of amazing, really.
Yeah. And same thing like in a hard workout, like, or like if you do, again, this is going back to running, but like when you do a 1 mile time test around a track, like lap 3 is always the hardest because you're like
3/4 of the way there.
You're 3/4 of the way there, but then once you get to lap 4, you're like, no, I got this, and like, you know,
yeah, it's interesting.
I have never like.
It's such a good way to think of it.
God, that's a really good coachy metaphor thing.
Yeah,
exactly.
I must have picked up something in all those hours.
You're a good coach.
Yeah.
Well, and I think and I think this might have been something. So my friend Cheryl Wolverton, who is a life coach, who has been a guest on the podcast, Sessions with Cheryl, she said, and lately she's been talking a lot about change and transition. And she says the same thing, like not the same thing, but her point is like, you cannot grow without change. Like you will not grow if you do not change or something around you changes.
And change is uncomfortable.
And people don't like change.
Yeah, we do not.
People will stay in a situation that they are not happy in because it's easier or a safer feeling than getting out of their comfort zone and going through the change, even though that transition might ultimately create more happiness, more money, more freedom, whatever it is. But like telling yourself and reminding yourself that I can't grow without the change. Like I can't get to where I need to go if I don't experience the change. And
not to be like, I was going to say, not to be like, you know, certainly I'm not the one who's going to be Pollyannish about it, right?
No, it's hard. It's hard. And I remember even when I was opening the salt cave, so we're coming out of 2020. I had spent the last 2 or 3 years working from home, and then in 2020 we were stuck at home even more than I already was. I was pretty comfortable at home. I was loving working from home.
Going back there.
Yeah. And I was like in this midst of this huge transition. I'm like, I'm opening a salt cave. Woohoo, da da da. And I got like really close to like I was like signing the lease. And I mean, I was there getting close to that finish line, like just the same metaphor. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to leave the house.
Darn it.
I was to be there in person every day, talking to real life people in person. And I had a panic moment. I was like, what in the hell am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? This isn't what I want. I want to be home. But looking back, yeah, I'm really glad I'm not at home anymore.
Hanging out in the house.
I did. I had this whole point of like, what am I doing? Am I nuts? Like, this is wrong. I felt viscerally uncomfortable, the idea. And then after I got through that, of course, now I love going in and I love getting out of the house, and I am kind of a homebody. So it's a good example, but.
And once you take that step, like sort of the point of no return, right? That's when things get easier, right? The relief sort of like, okay, well, here we go. And then you can move again. I think there is a point, at least in my experience, when you're going through any kind of, like when you decide to move or when you decide to change jobs or whatever it is, there's always that point where you could still pull back if you wanted to, but then there's the point where, oh, you gave your notice, right? And like, oh yeah. But once that happens, there is a, sort of, okay, that other option's off the table. There isn't that kind of like, oh, I'm super, this is not good or whatever. Like you signed you're like, okay, and here we go.
Like, gotta leave the house.
Well, kind of like going off that platform, right? Like once you take that second foot off the platform, like you got to trust that the bungee cord or whatever the heck that thing was is gonna catch you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's not to say that you need to jump over the cliff on a bungee cord. Like, yes, that's one way of doing
I
it.
would say,
but like a perfect example is,
skydiving.
Your company's,
skydiving.
one of your, company's names is Bit by Bit. Like, so it's okay to keep one foot in the old life. Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
We're not used to being
Like cozy.
It's
And
okay.
I
feel like
going on here.
like I don't want to send the message that like, yeah, it's all in or nothing. Like I literally had 2 jobs for 2 years. I was doing both, and it's okay to keep one foot in the old and slowly drag that foot out the door when it suits you, and you'll know when it's time. That's part of transition sometimes.
I will say, as somebody who spends a ton of time in that 1 foot here, 1 foot there, liminal space, messy, mucky middle that we were talking about, like that's a really challenging space to hang out in for a really long time. And that will ultimately suck the energy and the life out of you. And so even though I am definitely the type of person who hangs out there, and I guess that's why I can speak to it, because I have spent a lot of my life in that liminal space. And a lot of good stuff happens in there. Don't get me wrong. Like that's where you really need to trust that things are getting worked out. And it's messy and mucky for a reason.
But you do need to drag your back foot out eventually.
At some point, you really gotta, go over the threshold and shut the door on the old to really be able to inhabit the new, right? So when you think about transition, if you're gonna transition, there's got to be something you're transitioning.
Well, that's true. Have a plan. That's what the plan is for, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say. Hence why we went from. Well, wait till we have our new podcast cover design.
You'll be so excited.
From like brown and blue and to like bright, fun.
Yes. What can you expect from our little rebranding?
Yeah.
Well, more color, brighter color,
way more color,
and hopefully just a fresher look, a prettier logo. So like if you do want to share it with your friends, they won't look that looks boring.
Yeah.
We're gonna put up some fun pictures on social media.
Yeah. We had a great photo shoot today.
And if anybody has any ideas for topics that they are really would like us to dig into, or really that are, transition questions, obviously
we
we're sort of
hearing
in that
suggestions. Suggestions welcome.
Yeah.
Our suggestion box is always open.
And for those people who have told us they feel like it's just us hanging out in our living room, like
it really
talking.
Is.
It really is. Today it really is.
Really. We're in Lara's living room. We'll have to do one from each of our living rooms.
Oh, that would be fun. Yes. Yeah, the living room.
Yeah.
Location. Yeah.
Fun.
And there will be cats and more cats. And hopefully dogs in the future.
I was going to say, if you guys come to my house, there will definitely be dogs. Making an appearance.
And the only dog you'll see here is the snoring dog that's laying on the floor there. And Cat has not made an appearance for once, which is very odd. So Shadow has taken the role of podcast cat for the day.
And we appreciate your assistance. Very good.
And stay tuned. Yeah. And maybe we'll share some more about each of our
transition.
What we're doing. Yeah, transition wise. Like maybe we'll do some podcasts on what each of us do, like what our goals are with our individual transitions and what we've already transitioned to or what we're transitioning to in the future. And
stay tuned. More to come.
Yeah, we got more to talk about.
Shocker.
Yeah. So if you have a little side gig or like a little thing that you do on the side and it's just calling you to grow it bigger, I think it's really worth listening to that. Amy.
Okay, are we gonna monkey chatter our way out?
Oh yeah, we're gonna try a real life monkey chatter chant without any of
the time
delay. Let's see if we can
what is our tempo like?
Monkey chatter. Ooh, we hang up on.
Okay.
Okay. And we'll keep this short and sweet.
Okay.
And ready? Okay.
Monkey chatter. Who you hang with matters?
Monkey chatter. Who you hang with matters.
That was 5% better.
Yeah. Peace out.
No. Thanks for listening to Monkey Chatter today. As a reminder, we want to let you know that while we think we are really smart, none of us are doctors or medical professionals. So anything that we say or suggest on this podcast should be run by your doctor before you make any major lifestyle, nutrition, or medication changes. Take care and be well, friends.